how far off the first team is it? I know we're talking 40 minutes into his debut or 14 seconds into his debut, so I don't want to get too carried away. But if you're scoring 40-minute hat-tricks under 18 level, I know he's only 16, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned it before, so I don't think it's a completely stupid question that you can see him becoming third choice in the not-too-distant future. How far along in the not-too-distant future do you think before he at least gets in the squad?
I think his biggest test, his next step is...
Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Academy Review. I am joined, as always, by Finn, otherwise known on social media as AcademyScoop, a name he certainly lives up to. We're going to be talking about Manchester United's under-18s and under-21s. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Finn, it's been a little while. We didn't chat last week, did we?
Yeah.
So we've had like
workouts to get on last week.
Yes. So we've had a sort of an extended period of time to look at. What do you want to focus on, or what do you want to start with, and what we're going to be talking about?
I think we'll start with the under-18s.
Yep.
Obviously, big talking point. Everyone tuned into this game for Chido Obi-Martin's debut against Nottingham Forest.
So when was this? This wasn't the most recent one.
That was last weekend.
Yep.
So yeah, the week before.
So
we had Leeds this weekend,
which we're going to get to in a minute. Don't you worry about that.
Yes. But yeah, we'll start with Forest. So it was Chido Obi-Martin's first start for United. Obviously, big summer signing. Took a few weeks for him to kind of be able to get up to fitness levels and be ready to get his first minutes. But he was there, and I think probably more people tuned into that game than any under-18 game for United in recent years, because there's obviously a lot of hype going around about this kid, and it's a bit of a fairy tale story, to be honest. He comes on and he scores a hat-trick in 14 minutes.
14 minutes?
14 minutes.
That's a bit too much, that, isn't it? Come on.
I wasn't even surprised. I sat there and I was like, yeah, well, it's what he does, isn't it?
I feel sorry for the other kids facing him, man. 40 minutes he scored a hat-trick. Yeah. I saw it, my social media was going crazy with it. Yours must have been going crazy, because you're the one that brought the story about us signing him. I mean, you say it's a fairy tale start. I don't think, me and you've spoken a few times about him, there wasn't any real concerns about whether he's good enough, whether he's you know, is this kid going to be sort of able to deal with it. You were saying that, you know, there's a reason he's getting so much attention, because he's that good.
And he proved it instantly.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, even at Arsenal, he had already way outgrown under-18 football, so this would have been more of an exercise of him just getting up to his fitness levels, getting that sharpness back after not really having a pre-season. But it's still, you know, fun to watch. It was like a training game for him, to be honest. But his first goal came 14 seconds after kickoff. So
14 seconds?
Yeah.
Mate, you can imagine it, can't you? You can imagine the team sort of voting for us, so you got to keep your eye on this kid. Yeah. He's the one that everyone's raving about. He's the one that's a goal machine. Just, you know, keep it nice and tight at the back. Don't let him, you know, get off to a flyer. Well, 14 seconds later, he scored.
I think you can see that he's one of those strikers that has that pressurising presence. It just makes defenders panic on the ball. So yeah, they kicked off, just playing out from the back. Forest's left back played it back to their centre back, who tried to go back against the goalkeeper, miscued it. ObiMartin ran straight onto it, and yeah, within 14 seconds, 1-0.
I didn't even realise it was a Forest kickoff. Yeah. I thought it might be United, and we just went at him and sort of. I thought that was quick.
No, he just sprinted. He sprinted straight towards goal.
They took the kick
They
off.
passed it to him.
Oh, do you know what? I don't use this. I think this might be the first time I've ever said this on any podcast on Stretford Paddock. But I almost feel sorry for him. Yeah, I almost feel sorry for the opposition.
You do, because there's nothing they can do about it. He's 7'9". Yeah, massive.
He's 7'9".
No, he's not. He's 6 something.
He's very tall.
He's very,
Joe Smith
very
levels
tall.
of tallness.
Yes.
Right. Well, that is 7'9", to be fair to you.
Yes. And he can finish from any angle. You know, you do feel sorry for the under 18 players, and I think because of that, we're not probably going to see him at under 18 level that much more. I think it'll be more of a 21s regular. But yeah, he just got the first 45 minutes and then got replaced by Victor Musa, which I think is about right, because, you know, leaving him on for any more, it is actually just unfair. So,
it is unfair.
Yeah.
You know, you got to remember that these are only youngsters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
not be too harsh.
It was the second goal was a giveaway as well. United played a ball over the top, which was cleared straight to ObiMartin's feet, and he finished into the bottom left corner. It just didn't look like he was trying, to be honest.
How far off the first team is it? I know we're talking 40 minutes into his debut or 14 seconds into his debut, so I don't want to get too carried away. But If you're scoring 40-minute hat-tricks under 18 level, I know he's only 16, right? I get that.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned it before, so I don't think it's a completely stupid question that you can see him becoming third choice in the not-too-distant future. How far along in the not-too-distant future do you think before he at least gets in the squad?
I think his biggest test, his next step, is replicating his dominance at under 18 level with the 21s.
Right.
So he came on for United's first under 21 game last week. He started against PSV Eindhoven, and from what I wasn't able to watch that game. From what I'm told, United struggled in the midfield because PSV are a team with a lot of quality, and there wasn't much service to him, so he wasn't really able to stamp that same authority.
Right.
So I think he will make a debut this year. If I were to predict it, I'd say he will get minutes this year for the first team, maybe towards the end of the season or in a cup competition off the bench. But I think we do have to obviously temper our expectations and see how he adapts to under 21 football and then obviously first team football. But I'd imagine he'll be training with the first team now or in the future. And yeah, he's not. I can't see him being that far off, to be honest. He's got, physically he's there already. He doesn't really need to develop in that side of things. Yeah, I'd say give him a few under 21 games, see how he fares, and then yeah, maybe he could make the step up.
You have to temper expectations. I'm just going to get carried away.
You can say whatever you want.
Reason on this channel.
You can say he's the best player you've ever seen, but that's what I'm here for. I need to calm
I'm
things
just
down
mad excited, and we're going to get to this in a bit as well. Yeah. I'm even more excited by the meltdown some Arsenal fans are having at the fact that he plays for us. We'll get to that a little bit more when we talk about Leeds.
It's hard not to get excited, though, isn't it?
I don't want to do the other players a disservice, though, because as you said, it was 6-0, so who else was involved in terms of goal scoring?
Yeah, the other goals came from Scanlon, Ibrahimov and Jim Thwaites. All of them had bright performances. Scanlon in particular, I think he's one of those players where he's not necessarily the quickest or the most flashy winger, but he'll always give you a 7-8 out of 10. You know exactly what you're getting from him, and there's a certain consistency that you can expect from James Scanlon. Yeah, and this season he scored tons of goals. It must be 7 or 8 this season already. So I think he's one of those last players from last year's under 18 side that could do with being promoted to the 21s now. Just again, that kind of consistent goal scoring threat and quality that he has. He plays off the left and in the middle, and he scored, I think it was just before half time for United's fourth. Ibrahimov as well, he's been getting up to speed recently because he spent a lot of time out injured last season, and I think he's maybe struggled to adapt to under 18 football in the same way. There's always clips coming out from under 17 football of him scoring outrageous goals and making amazing passes and stuff, and we haven't quite seen that yet for the under 18s, but in recent weeks he's really finding his feet and he's been chipping in with a few goals. He scored a hat-trick against Leeds, which we'll talk about soon.
Oh yes, but, yeah. Don't you worry, we will.
Yeah, and then the third goal was in the 80th minute. Jim Thwaites, who we've talked about a little bit in the past, and I'd say in the last 2 weeks, outside of Chido Obi-Martin, I think he's impressed me the most. You know, his quality in the midfield, the intensity in his duels. He's not a big player. He's pretty diminutive, but he really gets stuck into duels, and he's got good core strength and a lot of power for his size. He's really intelligent, can pick out good passes, and the thing that stands out right now is his set piece delivery. I said a few days ago, it's almost like Ward-Prowse-esque.
Really?
Where he can just pick out a top corner, and it's exactly what he did.
Showing your age here, Finn. You mean David Beckham-esque?
I mean David Beckham-esque, yes. But yeah, so he in the 80th minute steps up for a free kick, and he sends it as far in the top left corner as he possibly can.
Really?
Proper top bins with some lovely curl on it. So really, really lovely delivery on that, and sealed the 6th goal for United on the day. Throughout, nothing that Forest could really do to challenge United. Secure as ever at the back with Armour and Kakonki, and also Reece Munro, who's one of the more experienced players, putting a real shift in, and another clean sheet for United.
Great to see, lovely to hear about how well they're doing, obviously smashing it under 18s level. What have you got next for us?
We'll talk about the 21s. Yeah. And then we'll go back to the under 18s. So the 21s played PSV Eindhoven in the Premier League International Cup. They're a team that I watched in the Netherlands in the summer. They're under 19s in the Otten Innovation Cup, which they host, and they also won the competition in the summer. United played them, and I think they struggled, to be honest, because I think there's a difference between academy football in the way that we approach it in England and in Europe. So I think European academy sides are drilled with the focus of being really secure in possession, and they're trained as a collective, whereas I think in England there's maybe a little bit more focus on kind of individual development and stuff. So you can always expect, aside from the Netherlands, especially a PSV, to have a lot of quality and put up a really good challenge. I think that's what we saw, because United struggled quite a lot to really mark their authority on the game. Within 13 minutes they took the lead. Dermot Mee with a slight miscue playing out from the back, which PSV capitalised on, and United had to fight back through the rest of the game from that. They had two players in Tygo Land and Isaac Badi, I think you pronounce it.
Say your word for that.
Yeah, they're really highly rated players. One's a winger, and Tygo Land is a deep midfielder who's been compared to Frankie de Jong a lot, actually. And they both have a fair bit of first team experience, so provided a real challenge for United. And it wasn't until the 90th minute that Gabriel Biancheri won and scored a penalty to give a little bit of a consolation for United and get that equaliser. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a challenge for United, definitely.
No, it sounds like it, and listen, you want the players at that level getting tested, having those challenges, because it's good preparation, even when they do make it into the first team. And obviously, like you said, they're playing against a very good team indeed. What's next for us?
Very strong. We'll go back to the 18s.
Let's do this.
So they faced Leeds away.
This is what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, and just more domination. It's the same thing. It feels like we say the same thing every week, but I mean, the aggregate scoreline from these last two games is 14-0 to United.
So two very close games then, yeah. I mean, you think 6-0 against Forest is impressive, and then 8-0 against Leeds.
Yeah, they better it.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. So the star of the show in this one was probably Amir Ibrahimov, playing in the midfield. Like I was saying, he's really been finding his feet in the under-18s. He's another first-year under-18. I think that's one of the most impressive things about this side is usually if a team is this dominant at under-18 level, it's usually because they're comprised mainly of second-year under-18s who maybe haven't yet made that step up. But this team, apart from maybe James Scanlon, Jace Fitzgerald sometimes, and Reece Monroe, they're pretty much all first-year under-16s that signed their scholars in the summer.
That's insane.
And they're dominating, in this level. There's I think they've scored 40 goals, conceded 4. They've won 8 out of 8, 5 points clear at the top of the league. It's unprecedented, really. It's pretty incredible. And a lot of the credit for that has to go to Adam Lawrence, because, no matter the team that gets put out, you know what you're getting tactically and in terms of their commitment in the performance and their intensity. And yeah, it's pretty amazing, to be honest, the amount of control they exert and the dominance they have in their play. And it means that the attacking players are really able to express themselves, as you see with Ibrahimov picking up a hat-trick. And, James Scanlon got a hat-trick of his own. It's what can you say, really? 8-0.
There was a clip going round of Chido Obi-Martin looking frustrating when Ibrahimov got one of the goals where he basically tapped it in on the line when Obi-Martin looked like he'd scored, basically. Yeah. This sort of went viral on social media, where Arsenal fans were I think it was an Arsenal fan calling Chido Obi-Martin a disgusting human being for moaning because he had a goal nicked off him. Yeah, I mean, Arsenal fans are raging about this lad, aren't they? And it says a lot. Yeah, it does say a lot, and there's clearly a lot of bitterness coming out from them, because if they didn't care, the way that they say they don't, then they wouldn't be commenting on it, would they? But yeah, a lot was made of it, and people were saying, a coach needs to go and have a word with him, because he did look, a bit frustrated in the goal celebrations after Ibrahimov tapped it in. But what you've got to remember is he is possibly the most prolific player we've ever seen at this level in terms of goal scoring. It's in his nature to constantly be looking to score goals and up his tally. And you can look at it as selfishness, but at the end of the day, the very best players have an ego and they have a desire to score. And I think that's no different in this case, and you have to kind of allow that to be expressed. And I think to make out as if he's got attitude problems or that he needs talking to, or that he needs, some sort of disciplinary action, I think is ludicrous, because he's a young player who wants to score goals.
And you know, in the subsequent goal celebrations, he was, you know, celebratory, and he was congratulating his teammates and stuff. I think way too much was made of it, and it's a non-issue, to be honest. And it's telling of the way Arsenal fans were reacting, because they're clearly not happy that they've lost him.
Yeah, they're not, and it was ridiculous. He's barely played any minutes for Manchester United. He's playing obviously under 18s there. I know he's you mentioned he's had minutes for the under 21s as well, but he's still at this sort of level where he's a kid and he's playing alongside other kids as well. And to be seeing that sort of vitriol against him because of a lack of a celebration when someone's nicked a goal off him was insane. Yeah. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah.
That's nonsensical. And the only reason it's happening is because they really rated him. They can see the talent is there. And they're very, very bitter and sad and twisted, and they need to get a life and a grip. Any more?
Yeah, so I'd also mention Bendito Mantato had a really good performance on the right for United. Chipped in with the first goal, actually, which Scanlon drilled across. And yeah, he was causing problems for Leeds all of the 90. I think deserves a lot of credit for his performance down the right, because he was creating a lot of threat. He won a penalty as well, which Victor Musa put away. And yeah, just another fantastic team performance. I'd say also Dan Armour in the last couple of games has really kind of stepped up from playing out from the back. You know, as far as ball playing goes for centre backs at this level, you won't find much better than Dan Armour.
Really,
in terms of the range and selection of his passes, you know, it's really top quality. He can ping a ball 60, 70 yards with ease and find a winger. He can play them, you know, between the lines. So, you know, credit to him for his performances. And he's kind of filled in that role for Kukonki, who's we've seen more with the under-21s recently. But they're two centre-backs we've spoken about a lot, who are showing that they have, you know, some real potential and look like they can just continue to kick on. So, yeah, just positives all round from that game. And United, you know, just far and away the league leaders and look like they're just going to replicate the same as last season.
Last season, which was like a record-breaking season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They just absolutely smashed it, and if they replicate that...
Same again with quite a different team.
That's amazing, that. Yeah. And you talk about some of the fact that these are young players for that level as well, makes it even more exciting. It's
so good to see.
A real positive when we need one. Also, just on some of these youngsters, I bumped into you ahead of the Leicester game.
Yes.
And you was chatting to me about some of the youngsters that you've been following were on the bench for that game.
Yeah.
Good to see them getting in and around the first team squad.
Yeah, so against Leicester just before the game, I was told that Jace Fitzgerald had received a late call-up because Christian Eriksen had pulled out through injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a really tidy midfielder. He's got a lot of experience at under-18 level and a fair bit at 21 level. But he got his first ever inclusion in a first-team matchday squad, which was really, really good to see. He's a player I'm a massive fan of. I think he's someone that United fans would really enjoy watching. He's very technical and kind of wouldn't look out of place in possession, in my opinion, for a first team side at this point. Obviously there's development to be had on the physicality side of things in terms of ground coverage and, you know, his intensity in duels and stuff, but in possession there's a lot of quality there, and so I hope he gets his debut soon. I think it'd be really good to see. He plays quite deep in the midfield, and this season we've seen him tested in a lot of positions. He's played at right back, quite a bit at centre back actually for the under-18s, and every time upon asking, you know, he's provided the goods and put in really, really solid performances. So a really well-deserved inclusion. I would have liked to see him get some minutes against Leicester.
You know what? I thought he was going to as well, because he was warming up for ages. So a lot of the youngsters were there. I think Harry Amas was on the bench as well.
Jack Fletcher as well.
Fletcher, he was there. And they were warming up after like 5 minutes for like almost the entire night. And I thought, he's got to give him a tickle there. Like, come on.
5-2 up.
Yeah, like, and it kind of felt like something a caretaker or an interim manager would do.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm going to give some youngsters the debut, and then that'll be there forever. I was the one that gave him the debut.
Exactly. If you gave Jace Fitzgerald his debut and then he goes on to have a good career for United, you can say, well, that was all me.
Yeah, I'm the one that gave him his debut. Yeah. I might have only managed for 4 games, whatever it is, but I'm the one that noticed how good
or Jack Fletcher or Harry Amas for that matter.
I was convinced that was going to happen. I thought it's just the stars are lining up.
Yeah.
We've got a 3-goal cushion. Leicester's given up.
Yeah. Obviously not as easy against Chelsea.
No, but I get that. It would have come across as insane to start dishing out debuts to players in that game. But certainly for the Leicester one, it did feel like that was the moment. But it wasn't to be. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens in the future, and hopefully they'll have bright, careers at Manchester United ahead of them.
I have no doubt that they will, because they're getting that opportunity for a reason.
Yep.
And they all deserve to be there. They've worked hard and they've shown a lot in training, and they're very highly rated internally. So I have no doubt that they will all get their chance, and they have bright futures in the game. So it's great to see.
It is great to see, and hopefully we see them playing sooner rather than later. I'd love to see them get the first team.
It'd be good, wouldn't it?
Is that everything?
We have one more under-21 game to talk
fantastic.
about.
Go on.
A loss, unfortunately.
Oh no, maybe not as fantastic as I thought.
Yeah, it's a difficult one against Sunderland in the PL2.
Finn, you know my thoughts on Sunderland. They're on my list. Yeah,
I know.
I remember the Poznan back in
2012.
2012. I don't forget or forgive.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, on the wrong end of a 7-goal thriller this time.
Yes, unfortunately so. I mean, they were a really experienced side. I think they had 3 players who were over the under-21 age limit. I think a few of them were 25 or 22. And so United came into it with a young side, and they're always bound to struggle with the physical.
I mean, that just feels like cheating, to be honest with you. I'm not
yeah. It's almost like playing Chido Obi-Martin at under 18 level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What did we take from this game? Obviously, we got a couple of goals.
Yeah,
was a bit of a
Jack Fletcher picked up a goal, and Gabriel Bion for his 16th of the season. So he's doing all right as well. So yeah, it's always going to be a bit of a learning curve for the under-21s, because United do like to field young sides to really push players on and give them that experience, but it's not always going to result in an overriding win in the same way you can expect of the under-18s. It's a tough job for Travis Bion, who I think I've seen getting a little bit of stick recently, actually, which I don't think is necessarily warranted, because at under-21 level, your team selections are going to be so much more unpredictable. You've got players coming in and out through either going on loan or being called up to the first team, of course injuries. So there's so much unpredictability there that it's hard to really establish kind of a solid, consistent under-21 selection. So yeah, it's always going to be a good learning curve, playing against more physical players, more experienced players, and they'll definitely learn from it and improve as a result. One positive was that Sekou Kone made his debut in the second half.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, no stream, so we'll never see it. But Travis Bion came out after the game and said, he was really bright when he came on, so that's positive to hear, and hopefully we see more of him. He, like Chido Obi-Martin, he was given a few weeks to get up to speed, get up to fitness levels, because he too didn't have a pre-season. And I think he might have got a knock early on, so it's taken him a little bit of a while to get involved, but he's here now, and yeah, apparently he was really bright when he came on, and so more positives and stuff. So hopefully we see him getting in. Well, we saw him in first team training actually a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully we see him get a bit more involved and pushed a little bit forward. But yeah, it's a mixed bag against Sunderland.
A mixed bag. It can't all be positive all the time, but like you say, it's a learning curve, and no doubt these talented youngsters will learn from it. Finn, always a pleasure chatting to you. Next week, you're going to be on twice, aren't you? We're going to have a little bit of a normal review, and then also you're going to be looking ahead to Ruben Amorim and which youngsters you think could do a good job in his system. That's one I'm looking forward to watching, and I'll get a front row seat, 'cause I'll be on it with you. Make sure you go and check out Finn on AcademyScoop. You know where to find him on all your socials. Don't forget as well to hit like, share and subscribe. That's been Finn, I've been Jay. This has been Academy Review. Thanks for watching.